Even in the advanced future of the Warpath universe, maintaining a galaxy-spanning economic empire such as the Galactic Co-Prosperity Sphere is not a walk in the park. For the most part, the ruling Council of Seven is able to rely on its extensive networks of corporate legal experts, information brokers, alternative fact writers, spies, and diplomats to handle the continued smooth running of their affairs. Despite these powerful collectives working to put out fires and squash insurrections wherever they pop up, there are more conflicts across the 5 spheres than even the extensive agents of the Council can effectively manage. Sometimes, even despite their best-laid plans, a situation can devolve and end explosively. When such a situation occurs that the Council's outstretched hand is rejected or refused, it pulls back, bunches up, and returns as a fist. This strike, that is the Enforcers Corps. Made up from those taken from the best private military school graduates down to the most vicious prisoners, each individual enforcer is chosen and transformed into the single greatest weapon mankind has ever known. Undergoing genetic and mental reprogramming processes known simply as the program, each subject that survives becomes stronger, more endurant, and faster than any normal human has any right to be. This beyond secret process creates muscles much denser than a typical human's, and their bodies become not only capable of withstanding low oxygen environments, but it also enhances their natural healing factor so that wounds begin to heal even as the Enforcer continues their fight. Along with their enhanced senses and reflexes, they become the ultimate fighters. Weapons for the Council of Seven to unleash upon those who made the mistake of making them their enemies. As you can imagine, this isn't a cheap process. To protect their costly investment, the Council ensures that each Enforcer undergoes advanced neuro-repatterning, leaving the Enforcer void of any fear and instead replacing it and all other driving desires with an unfaltering loyalty to the Council of Seven and to no one else. The GCPS learnt all too well what a large force of dangerous warriors could achieve should they turn on their masters, and weren't so reckless as to allow the history of the Mandrake rebellions to repeat itself. Despite all of these physical and mental enhancements, the Enforcers aren't quite the unstoppable killing machines that they might appear, and are definitely too much of an investment to just let rush into battle to fight barehanded in nothing but their birthday suits. In place of standard GPS armor weave, each of these superhuman warriors is supplied with armor crafted by the Forge Fathers themselves. As intricately engineered and tough as anything that a dwarf would entrust his own life to, these suits of armor enhance all of the biological benefits that the program bestows upon each Enforcer. Equipped with this armor, Enforcers are difficult to slow down, let alone kill, and are capable of withstanding their foes more than long enough to crush them into dust. Much like the soldiers themselves, the Council has insurances in place to protect the security of their armored suits. To avoid any reverse engineering or theft of the armor, each suit is fitted with ferric circuits, primed to turn the armor into hot slag should any unauthorized interference be detected. These suits were made for the Enforcers Corps, and the Enforcers alone. Unlike with some other army structures, Enforcer officers tend to lead from the front. Leading the charge at the heart of the battle, many commanders opt for the more bulkier suits of Peacekeeper armor, offering them greater protection and allowing them to carry even greater and heavier instruments of war into battle with them. This added safety is not desired from a sense of fear, but rather from cold practicality. Unmotivated by a fear of death, each commander simply understands that they are only capable of leading their force effectively while they're still alive, and so they take the necessary measures to prolong that state of being. The Enforcers were first introduced into the galaxy when the need for their kind suddenly increased dramatically. The catalyst for this upheaval was the Mandrake Rebellions, an army of once mercenary marauders turning on the GCPS and almost destroying humanity across the stars. A large portion of the GCPS's forces flipped and began to attack the rest of their human forces, leaving the spheres in a state of panic and death. The threat was great, and many laws and questions of ethics were overlooked or pushed to the side to see Project Ikaban completed. After a number of monstrous failed prototypes, the program was refined, and the Ikaban final prototypes were sent off to war under the new guise of the Enforcers Corps. The promised super soldiers proving, in the eyes of the GCPS, to be worth the cost. Their addition to the conflict turned the tide back into the GCPS's favour, bringing a blood-soaked resolution to the rebellions and pushing back the Greenskin Tide out of GCPS space. The fighting was eventually brought to an end with a great sacrifice of Enforcer lives, a cataclysmic event engineered to trap and decimate their enemies. With strategic planning, the nav routes from the outer spheres were all directed through one system, with 10,000 Enforcers standing guard at this gate to the inner spheres. There, they held the line against the Marauders, acting as enticing bait for the Orcish forces to be drawn into the fight. Then, when the number of Marauders reached what the Council of Seven deemed to be cost-effective, the Enforcers, the Marauders, and the planets that they fought over detonated. The Council had arranged the destruction of the entire system, detonating the star within and absorbing the conflict within a premature supernova. Each Enforcer died willingly, performing their duty, and none today hold any grudge against the Council on their battle brothers' behalf. It was the duty of each Enforcer to fight and die for the GCPS, something that those 10,000 did willingly that day. Nowadays, rather than blowing up a system, when the Council orders enforcement intervention, an Enforcer patrol group will typically establish a presence in the target system, travelling aboard McKinley-equipped Wyvern transport ships, carrying the various vehicles, armaments, and support operatives required for the Enforcers to wage war. Utilising the Council's connections with Navicorp, Enforcers can typically arrive in a system and take orbit around their target before their enemy is even notified of their arrival. Once the Enforcer fleet is secured in orbit above their target, strike teams are deployed. Standard Enforcer procedure is to hit the target site hard and fast, leaving no room for quarter. Persecutor bombers and accuser gunships first sweep the zone, softening up any fortifications and destroying infrastructure vital to the enemy. Enforcer peacekeepers and operatives then lead the way, sweeping through the remains of the site, clearing out any remaining hostiles. Each Enforcer is armed with Accutech's best weaponry and are more than capable of eradicating most enemies that they face. Certain situations, however, call on more specialised approaches, and the main strike force may call upon assault teams armed with monomolecular wrist blades, or defender squads armed with heavy shields and shotguns, to clear out enemies hiding in confined urban areas. Where a more direct approach is required, HMX-32 man-portable missile launchers and anemone mines are utilised to pierce through the armour of enemy vehicles or defences, thoroughly destroying those foolish enough to think themselves safe within their armoured shells. When the Enforcers need to implement faster approaches or where conventional air support just isn't possible, they turn to the XSG-56 mobile weapons platform, or for those not familiar with the GCPS model codes, the jet bike. With powerful, quiet engines capable of propelling the rider and their variety of heavy munitions to their target, the jet bike is almost every marauder's dream. Quick, packing a punch, and carrying an enforcer on top, they're typically a herald for a bad time. Enforcers are without a doubt one of the strongest fighting forces across the galaxy. A finely crafted fighter kitted out with the highest quality armor and the best weapons that money can buy. Beyond this, they benefit from the vast support networks that the Council of Seven nurtures, intelligence agencies, technological and mechanical support, along with access to an immense fleet power capable of bombarding any target once given the order. All of this power, however, comes at a price. Each enforcer is of a great expense to create and then outfit, and so, despite their great skill and versatility, an enforcer strike team will more often than not be outnumbered on the battlefield. Their commander must deploy their assets wisely, as each enforcer will play a part in the victory to come. The greatest flaw of these super soldiers, it seems, is the fact that they simply cannot be everywhere at once, leaving the GCPS to rely on their more human forces to defend their borders where enforcement presence just can't be materialized. Each enforcer that falls is an economic blow to the monolithic financial structure that is the GCPS, and whilst each enforcer understands that they are replaceable, none are considered expendable. If you've enjoyed the video and you want to see more Mantic content on the channel, or you've got an idea for what we should cover next, then let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.